fails, it leads to a fault. What is insulation? Insulation is between your, now you have a conductor, and around the conductor you have an insulator, and after the insulation you will have a metal. Now this metal is the one which we come in contact, right? So we have to ensure that the potential at this metal is always less. Now, see, when there is a fault, what happens? What happens when there is a fault? See, when there is a fault, current flows through the human body, right? And when current flows through the human body, the person through whom this current flows, he can die. If the current is around 1 milliamps, then there will be only a perception, sensation. You will feel a tingling sensation. If the current is close to 10 milliamps, let's say 9 to 25 milliamps, you will feel pain. You cannot move your hands. If the current is around, let's say 60 to 100 milliamps, then the person can die. How he will die? Due to ventricular fibrillation. What is ventricular fibrillation? See, the heart is running continuously. Heart is basically getting electric impulse from the brain. And when this electric impulse get affected, heart will lose synchronism and the person will die. Now, this particular thing happens at somewhere around 60 to 100 milliamps. Now, the main concept in earthing is we have to ensure that this current through the person is below 116 milliamps. See, this 116 milliamps is as per your IEEE 80 for a 50 kilo person. When a person's weight is 50 kg, 116 milliamps can cause this ventricular fibrillation if it flows for 1 second. Okay. Now, see, human body is basically a resistor. When current flows through the human body, the resistance is around 1 kilo ohms. The main thing which contributes for resistance of human body, what is it? What is it that causes the resistance of human body? See, what causes the resistance of human body is, see, our inside our body, bones are there, blood is there. These are all less insulation. They are more conducting. But it is the skin, the outer skin, which causes the high resistance. And in a substation, a person will be wearing shoes, that also causes resistance. And one more thing, main thing in a substation is the gravel. See, this gravel, when I ask many people why gravel is used, different people give different answer. But one of the biggest reason why gravel is used is gravel, the jelly, the stone, has a very high resistance, around, let's say, 2000 to 5000 ohm meter resistivity. So this high resistance gravel, it reduces the amount of current that flows through a human body during a fault. So, okay, let me go back to the slide again. See, what are the different paths through which okay, after this, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. See, the different paths through which the fault current can flow through a human body in a substation is, one is hand to foot, one is foot to foot, one is hand to hand. Hand to hand is rare, hand to foot and foot to foot is very common. See, when current flows, see, when this is, let's say, equivalent circuit, you have your transmission line and the current is flowing normally like this. Now there is a fault here. What is this? This is a conductor. Around this conductor, what you will have? You will have insulation, right? And what is this? This is a metal around that insulation. Now let's take a transformer. This can be like the transformer outer enclosure, or this can be a transmission line, this can be your insulator, then your structure. So always you remember there is one metal, conducting metal, and one non-conducting metal. In any electrical system we have two metal, conducting metal and non-conducting metal. Now this non-conducting metal, now when there is a fault here, what happens? Current flows from this non-conducting metal and it flows to the ground, right? Now the potential of this depends on this fault current and the resistance here. Now see this person, if he touches this non-conducting metal, which during fault becomes conducting, this fellow will get an electric shock. And if the current through his body is more than 116 milliamps, please note this value, 116 milliamp, but this value is as per IEEE 80. If you go for BS or some other standard, there may be some changes in the value. Okay. Now when this current flowing through this person, if it is 116 milliamp, then he gets a electric shock and he may die. Now this voltage is what we call at the touch voltage, right? Now the objective of substation earthing design. See, first thing is, what is the main objective of substation earthing design? Please remember one very simple, in today's session, what you have to get is, what is the main objective of substation earthing design? The main objective of substation earthing design is to reduce the value of touch and step potential. When I say reduce means what? Should we make it zero? No, we need not make it zero. The touch voltage or the step voltage has to be below the tolerable value. What is tolerable value? Okay, now let's say temperature. If the temperature is 100 degree, are you able to tolerate it? No, you cannot tolerate it. So in the same way, touch and step potential also has some tolerable value. So how to know the tolerable value? You have to calculate. If you calculate the tolerable values, see there are certain formulas to calculate the tolerable value. There is a formula, touch voltage. If you use this formula, you will get the tolerable value magnitude. Actually, the magnitude, you have to do a lot of calculations here. There are two ways. One is you can do hand calculation, via calculator or Excel, or you can use some software also. But even if you use a software, the basics you should know. How the software works, or what is the basic, that you have to know. So first is you have to calculate the what magnitude of voltage you can tolerate. Suppose a transformer is faulted, and if I am touching a transformer, what magnitude can I tolerate? So if you use this formula, where rho s is the resistivity of the gravel material, and Cs, it depends on the height of the gravel. Now normally we will put around 100 mm thick gravel. So based on that, we will get the touch voltage, step voltage, maybe somewhere around 300 volts or 400 volts. So it depends from substation to substation. So after calculating the touch and step potential, next you have to do a detailed calculation again, and you have to determine what is the, you have to determine what is the touch and step voltage that will actually attain at that place. See, the voltage attained at a place and the voltage you can tolerate. Basically, in substation earthing design, we will determine two things. What is the voltage my body can tolerate, and what is the voltage that will actually come at this place. Let's say the voltage my body can tolerate is 300 volts, and if the voltage developed here is 400 volts, then it is danger. Let's say the voltage my body can tolerate is 300 volts, and the voltage developed here is 250 volts, I am safe. Okay, now if the voltage developed is 300 and voltage actually that is going to appear is 400, then what we should do? we have to design and reduce, bring down the voltage from 400 to below 300. Now, how to determine the actual voltage? There are again some calculations. Now, how do you reduce the voltage if it is 400? How do you bring it down? See, basically, you do like this. You increase the number of earth conductors, or you put more grounding rods. So this is how, that is how we do. Okay. Now, there's one more concept. Whenever there is a fault, only a part of the fault current is the one which causes the ground potential rise. Suppose the fault current is, let's say, actual fault system design. System fault current will be 40 kA. You all know that. But for that particular substation, please find out what is the actual fault current. Let's say it comes around 25 kA or 20 kA. Now, when you are doing the substation earthing design, you have to find out what is the fault current that flows through the earth. It is only that current which flows through the earth which actually causes the ground potential rise, not all of them. Okay. Now, see, there is actually, see, you have a single line diagram, and what you have to do is first step thing for any earthing design, substation earthing design, is the input. What is the input? The input is the fault current calculation. So you can do either hand calculation, or you can do via your ETAP. You do via anything. You do that and get the fault current values. Once you get the fault current value, next is you determine what is the fault current that will flow through the earth grid. For that, there is again one method. Okay, you have to determine what is the fault current that flows through the earth grid. Not all the current will flow through the earth grid. After you determine that, next you determine what is the touch and step voltage permissible. Then you determine what is the touch and step voltage tolerable, mesh voltage. You do all those computation. That is all about the earthing design. But then what is the difficulty here? The difficulty here is, see, one is there are a lot of computations involved, and you have to understand those computations. Okay. Now, if any, now if you have any doubts, if you have any doubts on what I have spoken till now, I think you can ask me doubts. If you have any query, you can please ask me in whatever I told till now.
Hi, this is Ravi.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
If you can, when you ask me doubt, you can actually you can turn on your webcam also, so that it will be easy to.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know
sure.
who's asking what. Yes, sir. Yeah, please.
Yeah, my question is like in IEEE, I have read somewhere that like 70 kg person also should be considered. So is it like 50 kg or 70 kg?
You are correct. Actually, the reason why I told 50 was, if you design, let it some. I'll give you an analogy. If something can carry 100 kilos, if I design a chair to carry 100 kilo, then the same chair can carry 50 kilos also. In the same way, if I design my earthing system for 50 kilo person, then the same earthing is safe for 70 kilo person. Basically, what happens is, if a 50 kilo person takes, let's say, 116 milliamps uh, through his body, it means my earthing design is such that it will restrict the current to 116 milliamps. If I pass the same 116 milliamps in a 70 kilo person, he can take it, because higher the weight, that person can take more short circuit. So design, when you always design the earthing system, design it for 50, it becomes safe for 70 also. Is that answered?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, please, Mr. Emmanuel. Yeah. Inamul Haqji, please tell me. Yeah, one second. Yeah, now you can tell again. I think I'm not getting your audio. You can type in the chat box. Otherwise, I'm not getting the audio. Anybody in the meantime? Any other doubt? No, no doubt. Then I can move to the next slide. Hold on. See, this is a very important concept. See, when there is a fault in a person, what happens? The current flows. See, this is a transmission line. Current flow, there's a fault here. The fault will flow through the human body. It will enter the gravel. So the importance of gravel is it reduces the fault current. I'm sorry, it does not reduce the fault current. It reduces the amount of current flowing through the human body. So fault current magnitude will be same. So the current that, see, basically this current no has two paths. Now you know when the one path resistance is high, then most of the current will flow to the other path. So after the current flows through the gravel, it will enter the earth grid. And from the earth grid, what happens? Most of the current will flow back via the transmission tower earth wire to the remote substation. A part of the current flows through the earth grid. It is this current which causes ground potential rise. So this is a very important thing. We have to calculate the exact value of this. And to calculate this value, you have to know what is the this mutual, the impedance of the ground wire. All those data is required. So that calculation we have to do during the detailed study. And then one more thing, see, there is something called Thevenin's theorem. Thevenin's theorem. Now, the entire concept of this touch and step potential is based on Thevenin's theorem. So I will show you here. Now, this is basically a Thevenin circuit. It is what you have Z Thevenin. So the entire concept of this touch step potential is based on IEEE 80 itself is based on this Thevenin's theorem. Okay. Then one more thing I want to tell you. See, when a matchstick gives around 1 joule of energy, but a matchstick, if you keep on a person's body, then that person will not die. But same electricity, divide that 1 joule by 100, it becomes 10 millijoule. The same 10 millijoules for 1 second electricity can cause death of a person. So based on that energy, they have calculated this milliamps. So I'm just giving you some background. What is this IEEE design based on? One is there is Newton's theorem, and the other side you have the human body heart ventricular fibrillation. Then the amount of energy that can kill a human body, which is close to approximately, let's say, 10 millijoules. All these things are used at the background. And the formulas in IEEE is basically, this formula is basically, it is not analytical formula, it is an empirical formula. Okay. So now, okay, any more doubts from anybody? Any doubts on what we have told till now? Yeah, any doubt? Yeah, please, Mr. Inamal. Any doubts? Others, anybody? Any query? What should be the minimum value of split factor need to be considered? Okay, Mr. Shashikant. What should be the minimum value of split factor need to be considered in calculation? See, when I say split factor, there is nothing like minimum or maximum. You have to actually calculate this factor. So it may come 0.4, it may come 0.5, it may come 0.6, but you have to do the calculation. So you have how the calculation is based on Norton's theorem. Based on the Norton theorem only, they will do the calculation, and for that you have to basically find out. Suppose you have a transmission line, you have a substation, and your substation has, let's say, 6 transmission line 220 kV. Please get the earthing wire conductor data. What is the GMR, all those data. Using them, you have to calculate the Z equivalent. And once you calculate the equivalent impedance, then you have to find out the grid resistance. And from that only you can get the split factor. Okay. Okay, sir. Then I will go to the next question. During calculation of E touch and E step, how do we fix the value? Actually, see, when the touch and step voltage, if they come high, we have to reduce that. How do we reduce? Very simple. We increase the number of, we reduce the spacing, or you can increase the depth, or you can increase the number of ground rods. And again, you have to do the recalculation. Okay. So, any other doubt from anybody else? Okay, so see, one more thing is nowadays a lot of softwares have come for this calculation. Earlier you had this dedicated earth grid software. Nowadays we have specialized. Even our ETAP is having this software, but most of them may start using software, but it is good to know how this hand calculation works. Okay, next question is, I usually see EPC use gravel resistance 5000. Yes, you are correct. Gravel, not resistance, it is resistivity. See, gravel has a resistivity from 2000 to 5000 ohm meter, and when you use a gravel below a person's foot, it reduces the amount of current flowing through his body, and its value is 5000 ohm meter. 5000 ohm meter. Okay, and okay, so now any, okay, now again let me go back. I think some people joined late, so for them I will again refresh the this one. See, so remember, I will quickly run through again what is earthing. You, whether it is a substation, whether it is a building, or whether it is a substation, or whether it is a building, or whether it is a hospital or a transmission line, whatever it is, remember, earthing is same. Means that what is earthing? It is nothing connecting a metal to the ground. Means in the ground there is a metal, and in the, we have two metals. Okay, now why do we do earthing? Always two reasons: human safety, equipment safety. When I say equipment safety, it is about voltage. We don't want a huge over voltage. Now, so you may ask, why if I don't earth there will be a huge over voltage? See, when I say equipment safety, it is about neutral earthing. If I don't earth the neutral, if I don't earth the neutral, then it can lead to a very large, it can lead to a very large over voltage. Okay, now, okay, how do you, okay, somebody, I will answer your question. Now what happens now? Now in case of IEEE 80, what do we do? In case of IEEE 80, basically what we do is very simple. the current through the human body should not be more than 116 milliamps. If the current is more than 116 milliamps, it can lead to death of a person. So in earthing design, we will try to reduce this current. How do we reduce this current? By reducing the touch and step potential. How? See, this is the person who is touching. This is called the touch potential. The voltage between his 2 foot is called the step potential. Okay. So basically, we have to reduce the touch and step potential of a person. How do we reduce the touch and step potential of a? First is we have to determine the touch and step potential which a person can tolerate. Then we have to compare it with what is the actual value attained in this side. Now, how do we reduce? Now, let's say the allowed value is 300 and let's say the actual value at the substation is 400. So what we have to basically do is we have to bring down this 400 to below 300. How do we do that? By design. Okay. Now, okay, some people had some doubt. Okay, hold on. How do we find out in a okay? How do we find out in a substation connected to distribution network? How do we when we have many incoming lines? Then how to model? See, when you have many incoming lines, each line each line connected to the substation will contribute the fault current. Suppose you have 10 lines, each line will contribute fault current according to its own value. So that you have to do the detailed fault current calculation. Maybe you can do hand calculation, or if it is very big, you have to use VTAP or some other software. Okay. Then next, do we need to consider tower footing resistance? Yes, tower footing resistance. The we need to consider. If you don't have, just take 10 ohms and you have to do the design. Okay. See, one thing I want to tell you is IEEE 80 suggests two formulas for calculating RG. Okay. See, what I do is the grid resistance. There is one with the mutual effect. If you consider the mutual resistance and with ground rods, there is one formula. Okay, so one is you have R grid without the mutual resistance. One is you have with mutual resistance, and with mutual resistance you have the one with number of ground rods. So you can use that one. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. So
Hello.
actually, I just want to tell you, this meeting will link will close. I have posted the link again in the beginning. So just note down that, and again you can you can again join again.
Hello.
Yes, sir. One second, sir. You just note down this link here in the chat box. Please note down this because this link may close now. Then you can join again with this second link. Okay. Please note down this. Okay. Now, yeah. Please continue.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
earlier I was trying to ask you one question related to the ETAP and E-step and ETAS potential.
Okay.
According to formula,
Yeah.
usually we face the challenges from the EPC.
Yeah.
They use the resistivity of gravel as 5,000,
Okay.
but if they use the 5,000, then uh, allowable or tolerable step and trans potential it should be high.
Yeah.
Accordingly, they are using less material to design the substation. From the utility point of view, we are always trying to because we don't have any experimental data. What is the resistivity of the gravel? So if we use 2000, Is it logical from the utility point of view?
2000, see, actually speaking, each side to side gravel varies, right? Each
Yeah.
country, each state, each city, gravel quality varies. Actually, if you know the type of gravel, no, you can get the resistivity from the this one by searching it. That is not a difficulty. You need not test it if you know what is the gravel. And actually, in substation gravel also there is a standard, because you cannot use any type of gravel. So the for the standard gravel, whatever they are using, 2000 is okay. 2000 ohm meter is okay. It is actually acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now actually this meeting will if it ends, you know what you can do is I'll send the link again. You can join. If there's any doubt, I will clear. Okay. Actually, what I want to say is from tomorrow, actually, we are having a detailed class for 6 days from, 6 days it is there. So there actually I'll be teaching how the actual design is done. Because see, in 1 hour I cannot tell the actual design. There out the actual calculation, and I will take 4 cases there and take one typical substation and do the actual calculation. And the objective is the people have to learn how to actually do the design. So that today's was an introductory. Now at least you are clear. If earlier you were not, you are clear on certain things. So there I will be trying to tell the actual
And
design. Yeah.
and sir, one more thing.
Yeah.
When we are try to design the earth grounding grid for the abrogation side,
Yeah.
existing we have a grid, but we don't.
Existing, you have a grid. I didn't get you. Your voice was lost, Mr. Inamul. See, what I can say, if there is an existing grid, then when you do the new design, you have to consider that also into account.
But we don't have any data.
No, data means some things you will know. No, like for example, okay, you don't have any data.
Yeah,
Then you have to make some
how
conservative assumption.